bring on that bitch. I'm trying to hold out till freaking Thursday. See, if I had to wait till Saturday, I'd probably say, fuck it, I'm going to have a couple. But I'm so close. I'm like, just hold off.
Come on. You're going to make me have a poor trucker by myself.
Are you driving in the office tomorrow?
No.
See, I have to drive it.
Okay.
Because I won't have one either. They're that fucking succulent.
So
they're that fucking good.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway.
So at my work, they back out that week. So we are hybrid employees. Tuesday through Thursday, we have to be there at least 2 of those days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever combination you want.
Sure.
And they check your swipes to see how consistently you're hitting.
God.
But it's 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't do 2 days a week.
They're even checking the swipe.
Right.
Because they don't trust you.
Well,
isn't there a way to compute
you
that?
know what they found?
Oh, people were doing
A lot of people were fucking around. Not coming in at all.
These are adults, by the way.
Yeah. And it's like 2 days.
This is where, as a manager, it really drives you
And
crazy.
here's
You're like, are you serious? How old are you?
So here's what happened. COVID hit. We went straight remote.
Yeah. Like
And
most
most
companies.
But see, here was the only thing.
Yeah.
We got a little excited, and it was like, we're going to be remote forever. Like, we're so successful right now.
Kiss it down.
Everybody's being productive.
They'll
We're
never
gonna be remote
put us
forever.
back in those offices.
And no, the company was kind of pushing that narrative. They were like,
But
well, and then something happened, probably with money. Something was off, and they said, shit, we need to go hybrid. Okay? So then they said, hey. And they've kind of stretched it out for like over a year since they made the decision. Like, they haven't been crushing people for not coming in. But when they first announced it, they said, hey, we'd love to have people come back to the office between Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like 10 people were coming in.
we'd love to have it.
You know, like,
Then they can.
love to
No,
see
no,
what-
we really love to have it.
And if we don't have
Then
it,
then
we're
they
gonna
go,
fire
hey,
you,
we're
man.
gonna cater lunch on 2 days a week. And then it was get your fucking ass in here.
But here's my thing. Sure. We shouldn't have gotten excited. We shouldn't have announced like, oh yeah, we're freaking, we could be remote probably forever with this product. Like, we shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, to come back and say, hey, can you give us 2 days? I think that's a fair ask.
It's not unreasonable. No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? Especially, I was one of those people that went in 5 days a week,
Yeah.
even during the pandemic.
Like, I would probably. And can you pick the days?
Tuesday through Thursday, any 2 of those.
So I'd probably do Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, and then you get 2 back-to-backs.
Because then you're like Thursday, Friday, home the weekend. And then Monday at home. So, like, I could, you know.
But see, if you had something to do on a Wednesday, you could switch your days around and nobody's going to bother you. You know, I don't think that's
It's
a
not
crazy
unreasonable.
ask. No,
It's not.
2 days. And
I
people
love
wouldn't
being-
do it on their own, so
I
then they
loved-
had to force.
I love being home. Because
It's
your
nice.
day was over. Like, my day started at 8. Like, it started at 8, and it was done at 4:30. It was over.
Yeah.
Just done. There was no, pack up what I got to pack up, try and get to the, traffic, and, what if, God forbid, there's a fucking accident.
And
Oh,
if you need to go to the bathroom,
yeah, you can go whenever you want to go. You're not going to sit
You
there
just-
and wait around.
right.
Yeah, fuck this. It was,
you go to your own bathroom, you
I-
make yourself lunch. You have the TV
I
on.
had it.
Oh, no.
I had it good, man. How'd that happen? It's too loose. It's too loose.
Gotta tighten the sides.
Tighten the screws.
This one seems to be pretty tight.
All right, listen to that.
Okay, there we
That's
go.
better. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, folks.
BBD went limp for a minute.
Good thing we're both handymen and we
Yes.
could fix the situation.
Anyway, so welcome back to IDD. By the way, if there's no, I don't disagree. It's a man up money.
Damn, did we start
That
on a
is,
tangent?
that is the yeah, you did. That is the redundant one.
How
Thomas
did I
J.
start
Izzo.
that?
Thomas the Tangent is it? That's the name.
Tommy
Tommy
Tangent.
Tangent.
Tommy Tangent.
Tommy Tangent at it
Fucking
again.
Tommy Tangent.
Fucking the redundant one. Tommy Tangent himself, America.
That's my
Never-
gangster name,
Yeah,
Tommy, Tangent.
So just fucking unbelievable.
If I ever do any sports raps, I'll go by Tommy Tangent.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll write
Tommy,
about,
are you up? Wait, let me get my popcorn. Let me
I'll
grab a beer.
rap about something sports related, then I'll go on a tangent, and then I'll come back to the sport.
So that's your call. It's your
how
maiden
I do
call.
it.
Calling card, right?
Actually, I should start on the tangent.
Well, you did tonight.
Start on the
You
tangent,
started on the
then go into sports.
Say what you brought to you, by the way, Samuel Adams History of America. Part of the Sons of Liberty right there. The Boston Tea Party. Samuel Adams.
Porch Rocker.
The Patriots. The Sons of Liberty, baby. They're the first Patriots right there. They started the whole fucking
Good
thing.
old Sam I Am.
Yep. And that's their top brand. The legend, iconic Porch Rocker. Oh yeah. Oh, the Dago bar is filled tonight. I might have one. What the fuck? You're having all the fun. Anyway.
Hey, I tried to pressure you into it.
You did try. I know. I didn't. Yeah, I was trying to be strong, but now I'm like, fuck that. Why be strong? I'm on vacation.
But see, I've noticed the
not
way
yet.
you work is that you deny me once,
True.
and then as time goes on, you come around.
You wear it out.
You know.
You just wear it out.
Like I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna have a cocktail. You? And you're like, no, not tonight.
Not tonight.
And then by segment 2, you're like,
Fucking take it out of a shoe.
but see, that's the problem.
It is
That's the problem with us.
It
You
is.
know, it's like if one of us is trying to do better,
we're weak.
the other one is in the hole going, no, we don't need to do that.
No.
And when the other one's trying to do better, the other one's going, no.
Terrible. It's a terrible dynamic.
We don't want, we're always, whoever's miserable doesn't want the other one.
We're the enablers, America.
Hey, I'm getting drunk.
There's
Do
another
better.
one, the highlight question, otherwise known as the enablers. Like, if you're trying to stop something, we'll talk you into it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, jeez.
If you're trying to talk yourself out of it, we'll talk you back into it. Anyways.
Excess.
Hey, what?
Self-indulgent.
Nobody goes through their life saying, I wish I did less of that. If it's, no, it doesn't work that way.
I'm going through my life like that.
I'm preventing any, I'm
I
going to live.
I wish I ate less of that. That's pretty much my thought a lot of the
And
time.
then Brian Kovac, another enabler, put 8 ribs tomorrow. Fuck, there goes my cleansing out the window. I mean,
Yeah, I'm going to be good tonight. What you got there? Porch Rockers?
what's over there? Porch rock? Oh, whole case. Ooh, hell there.
Dear God.
You drink all 24 of them by yourself?
I'm
Hell
not in
no.
the office tomorrow.
Hell no.
Cheerio, Sam I Am.
Sam I am. So anyway, segment 2, Major League Baseball, the Mets, who salvaged
Oh, man.
after getting beat 2 out of 3, and they could have won that series.
They could have swept that
They
series.
could, yeah, they kind of could have. They responded tonight. They went in extra innings. They dropped 6 on them in the top of the. Was it the 11th? 10th. Only to give up 4 to make it interesting in the top of the 10th.
9-7, they come away with
They
it.
come away with a win. Houston? No, who was it?
No, today was against Washington.
Washington.
They're in Washington
That's
for
right. They're in
4.
DC for 4.
And DC is the team right below them in the standings.
DC actually is having for them a decent year.
Yeah.
It's been a while since they've been competitive, and they are.
I mean,
they are
not
competitive.
even just for them. I mean,
Yeah. They're in
they're,
the wild
in
card.
they're in the hunt.
They're
They're the team
They're-
behind the Mets.
Yeah, they're right behind them. So
The Astro series was disappointing
yeah,
because the vibes were so fucking high with this team. Remember, I was telling you on Friday night, Jose Iglesias performed his song after they won the game.
it was the feel-good edition of
Oh, my
baseball.
God.
The Mets were.
that was
Yeah,
that 2-week stretch was
magical.
insane.
Yeah,
Now,
they had the best record for the month of June.
yeah,
For
in
the whole
baseball.
damn month.
In baseball.
Yeah, in baseball. So it was a month. It wasn't like it wasn't 2 weeks. It was 4 weeks.
It was a really good month.
Yeah, so-
And even the games they were losing, it was tough because their bullpen's not great.
yeah.
So tonight it would have been 3 in a row if they had lost.
Mm-hmm.
They got down 2-0, came back, made it 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Bullpen gave up a late run,
Yeah.
but then they went into extras and they exploded.
Mm-hmm.
JD Martinez broke out of his 0 for 22 jinx that you put on him. He hadn't had a hit since the Yankee game that we did last week, and he had a 3-run bomb in extras. That was big. The Edwin Diaz thing is killing them right now. They keep going. They keep having to use their bullpen, and first of all they're down a person
Yeah.
because when you get the sticky stuff on your hands and you get ejected, not only are you suspended for 10 games, your team cannot call anyone up to fill your position.
It's a double whammy.
So they have to travel with one less pitcher.
This is the one we were talking about.
10
We were
games.
talking about this off here. This is the one rule in sports that really does what it's supposed to do. It really hurts you.
It dissuades
It
you.
really hurts you.
It hurts the team big
Because in
time.
baseball, you've got to have a closer. You've got to have a closer.
You got to have a full bullpen.
Yeah, but you got to, at the bare minimum, you've got to have a closer. You've got to have a guy who can shut the door in the 8th and 9th inning. And if that guy's gone for 10 games and your bullpen isn't good on top of it,
Yeah. Well, they're all overused.
yeah,
Most of them.
they got to get an ace or something close to it to trade deadline. Of course, what they have to get that. They got to get a guy that can go 7 innings. at the top of your rotation.
Last
It
night,
sets the table.
Severino actually did a good job. He gave up 4 quick ones against the Astros, but he went 7, which was like a big help. Then the Mets came back and tied it, but then, in the 11th inning, you're bringing in a guy who's making his season debut. The problem with that game was in the bottom of the 10th, they only gave up 1 in the top of the 10th.
Yeah.
Because, in extras, you start with the guy on second.
On second base, yeah.
So they gave up 1. That's good.
Yeah.
Next inning, leadoff double, they tie the game, man on second, nobody out. And they didn't score him to win the game. That's where they lost the game. Man on second, no outs.
You got to win.
Fundamentals score that run.
Yep. 2 sack flies.
A bunt, even just a ground ball to second base gets him to third.
True.
And then you can do whatever the
just
fuck.
Get one into the outfield.
Yeah.
So no, he's
I know
he's
it's
right.
not that easy.
No, but these guys are professionals. That's part of the reason why they're there,
that?
because they can do that. That's how they got there. They do the routine.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever's routine stuff they generally do because they're professionals. That's why they're professionals. But in this case, where they didn't do it, you're like, what the fuck?
Hurt. Yeah, it hurt.
How do you get a guy on second with no one to not get a run? Yeah, he's right.
It hurt.
Like, so, and by the way, we can't complain about the batting because going into the weekend they were 8th in baseball in batting.
Dude, in the last 19 games, they were averaging almost 9 runs a game.
So they were hitting.
And even in that game, they scored 5 runs.
They were hitting at an elite level.
Yeah.
So for the whole league, not their division, the whole fucking league. So, I mean, that's frustrating. And to me, that's, and we posed this question the other night. Of course, we were too stoned to really get into it. We were too busy laughing at it. But, it's one thing to not show up. It's another thing to be ahead. And because you don't have a closer, you lose it.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you supposed to do about
What are you supposed to do about it? I mean, you get penalized for it. It's like, I mean, you can't.
And the manager's just trying to figure out, all right, who can I lean on here? Who can I get some rest today?
And this is where baseball managers really get put to the task because they talk about fucking with the eyes blindfolded trying to hit something in the dark. It's just like, I mean, so especially with it when your opponent's a good team. Yeah. So they're the type of team that will take advantage of this. So it's like, fuck. So it's tough.
They really do. They need the starters to start getting more length. You got to throw 6 innings at least.
Minimum 6 innings.
You got to throw 6, and there's too many times.
To me, 7's the bit.
It's too many times 4 innings, and these guys are out.
I mean, maybe it's
into
me.
the 5th.
You tell me if I'm off on this because you know baseball more than me. But let me. This is just a thought. If you're in a 5-man rotation, if you have a good rotation, you figure. This is just me now. I don't have any proof of this. Let's see if he thinks it makes sense or if I'm off my rocker. Your 1 and 2 starters should be able to go 7 innings. Once you get to 3 and 4, okay, 6. And that 5th starter, that's probably a crapshoot at that. But your first 2,
3 and 4 at 6 innings.
6 innings.
These days.
I'm just saying, if you have a good staff, though, wouldn't that be a good staff?
I agree. Yeah.
If the first 2
that would
guys
be a great
can
staff.
go 7, the first 2 just 7, and the next 2 can go 6.
In these days, that would be a great staff, and you would have a good bullpen because
they're not getting taxed.
they're not getting killed.
They're not getting taxed.
That's what I think typically kills most bullpens. It's not that the guys can't pitch. They keep coming in and coming in. They're coming in at weird times, and
no rhyme or reason.
They're pitching too much.
Yeah,
they don't have a role.
One game they're in the 3rd inning.
Right.
Next game they're in the 7th inning. Then they're in the 5th. It's like, what the fuck? There's no rhyme or reason.
No role.
You have to be ready to go when your number is called.
That's a tough bullpen spot to be in.
It is.
Now, when you have starters that get length, and it's like, oh, you're our 6th inning guy. Yeah. You're our 7th. You're our 8th. Yeah. But hopefully that 6th and 7th inning person can just
a pattern breeds consistency.
Yeah.
So if you're in it, and this is all. Look at every good pitching staff. This is kind of what they look like. Okay, because the guys in the bullpen have a defined role. Yeah. They have a setup guy. They have an 8th inning. They have the closer. They've got names to them for Christ's sake because their starters 1 through 4 are going to give them 7 innings and then 6 minimum, and then they're going to figure it out with the 5th guy. Okay, and the 5th guy is usually the one who's the most schizophrenic. He can give you a 9-1 game, he get tattooed and bang in the 1st and the next one. That's why he's a 5th starter. He's hit or miss for the most part. So, but if the first 4 are doing that, then your bullpen has defined roles. There's consistency, and if you know you're going to pitch in the 7th inning every night, mentally with that, you're in a routine.
Well, you're more prepared.
You're more prepared.
Feel more confident.
You're in a routine.
Yeah.
And when you're in a routine, you're better. You're comfortable. If to his point with tapping at the Mets, I go in the 2nd inning one game, I go in the 5th inning another game, I go in the 8th inning, you're all over the place in a given week. You're like, what the fuck? Like you don't know what to do. It's like, all right, who's this guy? You know,
Well,
so,
they're a game and a half out of the third wild card spot, which is interesting. I really hope that they can continue these vibes and this style of play into July. And by style of play, I don't mean, shitty bullpen pitching. I mean staying together as a team, being positive as a team, hitting situationally, so driving runs in. In this stretch, they've had the best average with runners in scoring position in baseball.
if you think of this is why
Did you hear that?
I did. I agree with it.
I'm saying they have had the top number hitting with runners in scoring position on this
in the stretch,
June stretch.
Huh?
Hitting like situational hitting is probably the most important thing in baseball, other than pitching.
Sure.
But like when you get to the playoffs, if you can't situationally hit, so
They call it manufacturing runs.
right,
You got to be able to manufacture
hitting
runs.
a ground ball to second to get a guy to third, like
So the next guy, the next guy can hit one 300 feet
Right.
and get him home on a sac fly.
because when you just do stuff like that, you can consistently score
Yep.
more runs because you typically cash in every time you have a chance. And that's what kills teams. When they leave 10 men on base
Oh God.
night after night.
8 in scoring position.
you're just
Drives
like,
you up a wall.
my God,
and
we're
they lose
one hit away.
They lose 5-3.
Right, we're
and that's
one
8
hit away
guys
every
in scoring
fucking game.
position. It's like if you got 3 of the 8 home, you win.
And that is so tough about baseball. It's so tough for an entire lineup
Sure.
to be moving in the same direction, all hitting. And truthfully, you'll never have the entire lineup. Like we just said, the Mets were playing well. JD Martinez hadn't had a hit since last Tuesday. They won Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
And he never hit.
And he never hit in any of those games. So the entire lineup doesn't have to be hot, but like you all have to be doing those little things.
Sure.
to
I'd say of
manufacture
the 9, at least 5 of them. 5 of them going to be consistent.
5 guys
5.
really going hard is good, but
Yeah.
when you have 6 to 7 who are
Well,
all
that's
doing,
no. But I'm saying to be good. That's elite. That's when you're
love.
flirting with 100 wins. Okay. So the thing is, like, and this is what
101.
this is what I love about what Major League Baseball did, because if you look at this, and again, it's July 1st. We're not quite at we're close, but so here's where we are right now. There are
well, we're past halfway.
1,
we're right
2,
at halfway.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 teams in the National League fighting for one playoff spot. They are separated by 5 games. 8 teams. And there's still a half of the season to go. This is going to be a daunting. Okay,
It's kind of crazy
It's
that we're
crazy.
halfway.
You're halfway, and again, not much different in the AL, where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's half. It's 4 teams that are fighting for one spot, and they're separated by 4 games. But that's still 4
And how
teams.
many teams are out of it?
Nobody's out of it, but Texas and Detroit and Toronto are all 8 back of the final wild card spot. Okay,
That's just the bottom 3.
no. Then you have the Angels, the Athletics, and the White Sox. They're the bottom.
Yikes.
But when you look at the National League, only 2 teams, Miami and Colorado, are pretty much out of it.
They're out of it.
They're out of it. 13.5 and 15. The rest of them, separated by 5
Honestly,
games.
even the Blue Jays aren't like 8.5. You could make up in half a season.
You can. You're not out of it.
but
it's not.
what does their team look like?
Yeah,
You know,
well, they
so
can't. They still can't pitch for
I think
shit.
I've heard them talking about trading Vladdy.
Yeah, they were talking about it to the Yankees. Why would you do that?
Oh,
That's
man.
fucking. No, you trade him in the National League, you donkeys. You don't trade him in your own division. Fucking idiots. Fucking. I
What
swear,
could they
sometimes I feel like I'm
possibly
alone in this world. How the fuck can you, if you're Toronto, go? Yeah, the Yankees would be a good fit for this guy. Like, where the fuck? How far up your ass is your head? When you think that's
what
a
if you
good
got-
idea.
What if you got like 5 players?
I don't give a fuck. You don't trade a player of his in your division. That's a fucking rule. I don't give a shit what they give you.
I guess people are pretty low on him.
If you think
He's
I'm
been
nuts,
down. He's been
if
down.
you think I'm nuts, look at 10 years ago when the Boston Celtics gave Brooklyn Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Jason Terry, who was a shooter, and they got 5 picks. They turned into Brown and Tatum.
So then you should. So then by that they should trade him.
That's the one time it happened. That's the one time it happened. But that actually worked out for the.
But that's what I'm saying. If they could get some sort of deal like that, and in baseball you don't get picks, you get players.
I know, but I'm just getting 2 of the 10 best players in the world. Because that's what those 2
Well,
are
I mean,
right
for
now.
Vlad Guerrero, I don't know if he's signed.
Well, they're talking trade, so he must be signed.
But I mean, I don't know if his contract's up at the end of the year because if it's only half a year, I don't know that you can get 2 prospects for him. If he's got a couple years left, you could probably get somebody's top 2 prospects.
I would just, so it doesn't bite me in the ass with my fans, I'd trade him in the other division conference.
No, I get what you're saying.
Because your fan, if he comes into Skydome in a Yankee uniform and hits a grand slam, what the fuck do you think that fan base is gonna do? Are you shitting me? And I know what he would do, and I know what I would do if that happened. We'd lose our shit. We'd be that dude at Inside Out with the fire in the hair, in the fucking stands.
I mean,
and we wouldn't be alone either.
Well,
we would incite a riot.
Here's the thing about the Mets. I'm not remembering a lot of trades interdivisionally, but we have a lot of situations where we don't sign guys, and we let them sign with our rival. Like
that
Philly
does
and the
happen
Braves.
a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It kind of does.
I mean, the Phillies signed Zach Wheeler. He's their ace. Mm-hmm. We had him. We knew what he was.
Yeah, you did.
He pitched well for us.
Yep.
And we let him go to Philly. And he only signed like $120 or $150 million deal.
It's crazy.
Not expensive at all. Maybe it was a little more than that, but either way. Mm-hmm. He's a fucking ace.
I mean, but the thing is, like, and this is where baseball is very difficult because the pitching is so damn good. Even the bad pitching is good. It's hard to get a lineup where it can consistently, 1 through 9 is very hard to do.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard, damn near impossible to do. Okay?
The weird thing about the Yankees lineup is like they're always looked at as one of the best offenses in the league. But then sometimes you watch and it's like, it's just Judge. Now, this year it's Soto.
Well, if you go by batting, like right now, number 1 in the league is Houston. And the Mets fell to 10th. They're still 10th. The Red Sox are still 7th. Still, they're both.
Did we fall to 10th? I didn't think.
You were 8th. You fell to 10th.
Really?
Yeah. The Yankees are 8th. Arizona, ironically, is 9th. You're 10th. Houston, San Diego, who we both just played. Houston and San Diego.
Are at the top.
Philly, L.A., Dodgers, of course. But Brewers, the Orioles, of course, and then the Red Sox are the top 7.
Dude, Brewers have like 5 grand slams in the last week.
I know. It's crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
I can't say anybody in that fucking lineup either.
Jesus Christ.
Do you know that lineup? I don't know. You probably do. I don't know.
No, so we opened against the Brewers.
Okay.
And they took it to us. And it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're good.
And then a week later you go, okay, they're actually a legitimate team.
Legitimately good.
They have a rookie. I can't remember what his name is. He ate us alive.
They can
beat
hit.
us 2 out of 3.
They're fifth in hitting.
They swept us.
They can hit. And, of course, L.A., even without Betts, top 4, of course. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Phillies, San Diego with that offense. San Diego's had a lineup, they do, and Houston. So that's no fluke. Okay, but the Mets are 10th. The Red Sox are 7th. They're in the top 10. So they're competing.
Boom.
They're competing.
Top 3rd.
So my thing is, look, they got here. I didn't think, I thought the Mets had a chance at July 4th.
Well, you guys have been there.
I know. We've somehow stayed.
We've stayed there all.
Alex Cora is fucking.
To me, that's more of a sure thing than the Mets.
I mean,
you guys have stayed there, and you're now pushing past it.
Theo Epstein has only been back 2 years, but what he's already done in terms of young talent, what he's got, Theo's Theo, and it shows. And him and Alex Cora have a relationship. They've known each other for a long time because Alex was a player when Theo was here. Mm-hmm. So, and they won World Series together. So, I mean, it's like, the thing is, they are on the same page, and it shows. The Red Sox have these guys. I still can't name half the fucking lineup. I look at it
here are the guys that stick out to me. It's Duran.
Yeah, 5th in hitting.
Is he a center fielder?
Yeah.
He's fast as fuck.
That's the other thing. They're 4th in steals.
He's fast.
Even when the Red Sox were winning World Series, they weren't 4th in steals.
So Duran, then you've got Rafaela.
Yep.
Is he the center fielder? Which one of them?
I think he's the right fielder. Hold on.
So you've got Rafaela, who I think they locked up for a bunch of years.
Yeah, he's young.
Then you have the catcher, Wong, who's a fucking beast.
Wong's been awesome. I mean...
Like, these guys came out of nowhere. And then you've got Devers, who's kind of like this anchor veteran.
I mean, when you look at them, Connor Wong is batting .327.
That's insane.
Reeve Schneider,
he's their catcher.
Yeah, Reeve Schneider's batting .322.
Now, he's been there for some time now.
Yeah. Durant, to your point, .288. And then Devers, who I've been .283.
Damn.
So that's your top 5.
That's great.
And then Devers has come on. Devers now has 18 home runs. O'Neal, whoever
Tyler O'Neill
has 16 home runs. Like fucking ridiculous.
Dude, he's probably one of the strongest guys in baseball.
Yeah, I've noticed.
He's fucking big.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he's one of those dudes. You see him, you go, "You got big guns."
You see him and you go, "What do you do?"
He's got big guns.
He does not look like a baseball
That
player.
man lifts trees for breakfast.
He doesn't look like a baseball player.
No, he does not. So, look, they are there. I still think they could add an arm somewhere at the trade deadline. If you're hitting seventh, I mean, if your team is batting seventh best in baseball, I really can't bitch. If you're in the top 10, you have a chance to compete. Because the top 10, usually they're in the playoffs. They usually are. The question is, do you have enough pitching? It's always, do you have enough pitching? So, because if you don't, you end up like the Toronto Blue Jays. So, that's what I found the Red Sox I would add. I mean, with the Mets, where he keeps saying that the starters can't get to the seventh or consistently or the sixth, a starter, a bona fide starter that can do that. He's not maybe an ace, but that dude, and again, what would you have to give to get him? That's the question. So,
yeah, I don't see us dealing for an ace. Not a chance.
I'm not saying an ace, because a guy that goes seven isn't always an ace. He's just the Red Sox. Tim Wakefield would go seven. He was never the ace, but he gets you seven.
So
he would.
I know. There aren't too many pitchers that can get you seven, and they're not an ace now.
I don't know
what I'm saying?
Like, if that guy's out there. I'm saying if I'm the Mets, that's the first thing I'm looking for.
Because to me, either you're an ace that goes 7 innings, or like you're a fourth starter who goes like 5.
Well, then let me ask you a question. What is, say it's pitching for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If the Mets could add, what's the realistically, given what you know, the best thing they could realistically add without giving up the farm?
Without hurting.
Yeah, without hurting. Yeah. What were they? Hey, that could bump us up.
I mean, right now it's bullpen.
Okay.
It's bullpen.
Okay.
Now, of course, the starters aren't great, but I'm just trying to understand who they could trade. They could trade a player like Jeff McNeil, who a couple of years ago won the batting title, but has since not been great.
He's been on the decline.
So maybe you could trade for a starter. You could trade him for a starter who like has potential, but he's got a flaw.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're gonna get a 7-inning pitcher who's a number 2 or number 3.
Yeah. See,
they do have Kodai Senga coming back from injury. That'll be like a trade acquisition. That's their ace.
See, the thing about
they haven't had their ace.
I asked myself this same question yesterday after the Red Sox won, and I'm like, what would you add? Like realistically, what could you add, and what would you be willing to part with? And the problem is that at least from an offensive perspective, I feel like, and I could be totally wrong on this. It's just a hunch, but this lineup has a chance to get better.
It's fine.
Just as it is. They're going to grow. Because a lot of them, to his point, are young. They're only going to get better. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why don't you just let them? They're already better than you thought they were going to be. Okay? Mm-hmm. No one's got them in the World Series this year. So what if they made the wild card this year and get back? I wouldn't care. They made the fucking wild card. They weren't supposed to make the wild card, but they're progressing. They're building. And again, a lot of these guys are young. I don't want to necessarily break it up. It's not a win or bust.
They're
year.
not going to change it.
No, and I don't think that they should. This is what the conclusion I came to. Right. I don't think that they should. But when I really looked at the line, I'm like, well, he's young and he's young, and they've all improved. It's like, well, you don't really blow that up.
Yeah.
Because they're in contention for a wild card. They're a game and a half out. I didn't think they'd ever fucking be here this year. So ride it out. Let it go.
So here's the only thing I could see happening with the Red Sox. All right.
Why are you saying it like that?
You're going to tell me because
Why
you're
are you saying it like
You're
this?
going to hate this. Okay. So, because you don't like giving up. And I'm not saying they should give up. But I could see a world where you get close to the trade deadline, y'all are in a similar situation. Bottom, third, the third playoff spot, third wild card spot.
Game and a half out.
Actually,
we're 2 games out of the other one.
Out of the second one.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're going to be in the same spot.
Yeah.
You could probably get a haul for Kenley Jansen. You know what I'm saying? Because he's having a good year, isn't he?
Yeah. And he's your closer.
I know.
He's the best thing in your bullpen.
But hear me out. If you can deal him for like a great starting pitcher or something, you know what I'm saying?
That's like a prospect.
I know, but it's like a prospect right on the cusp. who's going to impact you next year as
The
like
only way I would consider doing that, again, I don't know what they're thinking. This is just me. Because to his point, I will never fucking give up if they're close. And they're close. They're really fucking close. But, and he's had a good...
Baltimore did this a couple years ago.
He's had a good year, and he's one of the top 5 closers in baseball right now.
Yeah.
And he's part of the reason why you're where you are. So if you're
No
gonna
doubt.
if you're gonna keep this together, see, trading him, what message does that send to your locker room? We're in this thing. Why the fuck are you trading him? I don't give a fuck about 5 guys at 5. Because think about it. If you're in that locker room, you don't give a fuck about 5 prospects 3 years from now.
No, it'd be tough.
You're thinking about now.
Look, it would be
because
tough.
any athlete's thinking now.
It
Because
would
they
be
should
tough.
be.
But I will say this: Baltimore did this. They were in the thick of it. It was either 2 or 3 years ago. They traded their closer. Okay, and they got back like legitimate players. And now they're in a better place than they would have been. Now, true, they could have kept that closer,
We've
gotten
seen it
a couple
go.
pieces.
We've seen it go the other way too, where
Which
it
way?
doesn't work out, where they make that trade and then
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Right.
It's not guaranteed to work.
And now you gave up something.
Yeah.
So
See, I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying I could see that happening.
I wouldn't listen.
And it would probably be a smart GM move. It'd be a Theo Epstein
Well,
type
Theo's
move.
not technically the GM.
Oh, he's like the president.
He's developed. He's like player development. He's developed. He's building up the farm system, which is what his strength. That's how he came up the first time.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I'm not saying that you. If you can get a hall full of, you know what I mean, like maybe. But the thing is, this team has a lot of good young prospects on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the dilemma. These guys are, to his point, they're mostly all young.
Yeah.
So what if they're already here?
No, you might be right.
Because they're ascending, they're getting better.
Yeah,
the thing
so
is,
just keep trying.
they got kicked in the teeth twice in a row, and they got up and won that game, and didn't even flinch yesterday. They just got bum blasted like 20-2 in 2 games, and they just got up and said, "All right, well, let's not," and they just business. Like that's
But
kind
just
of
baseball. Though.
No, but the thing is,
That's literally baseball. You
I know,
get smacked around the first 2 games and you win the
yeah,
getaway day.
Yeah, but that's not usually a team full of rookies and second-year players that have that kind of mentality. That's a veteran-laden team that does that.
Not necessarily.
Not a bunch of rookies.
What, gets mollywopped for 2 games and then wins?
And against the same team, I'm saying that
That's
usually
literally baseball.
No, that's what a good baseball team does. Okay, they're a good baseball team. Not every team does that.
wins the first 2.
A good baseball team doesn't get swept if they get mollywopped.
I know,
They still
but
find a way to manage and get a game.
I understand.
Even when everything goes wrong.
But what happens, the one team, the better team, wins the first 2. And then they go, all right, let's put our B squad out there. It's getaway day.
They didn't put their B squad out there, though. That lineup was still there. That torched them 2 nights before. 2 nights in a row. They're the same guys. They didn't take him out of the lineup. They
But their foot
they didn't
was
give
off
what's
the
his
gas.
nuts the rest.
Foot was off the gas.
No.
It's
it
getaway
wasn't.
day.
The
They're getting ready to
Red
fly
Sox
home.
held that offense to 5 hits
It
because
was
they were ready.
getaway day, bro.
No.
Dude, they're all packed.
I
They're ready to get
have
home.
seen Boston in that situation fucking sweep a team that was sweep them, fucking kick their ass, not take their foot off the gas. Okay, I've seen
I'm
that.
saying
too.
it happens.
I'm
San
saying it goes
Diego's
both
not
ways.
a great team. They're a 500 team.
Right now, they're in the playoffs. Top start tomorrow. They're one of the final 6.
Half
So
the
clearly they're
fucking
good.
league is.
So no, they're actually in.
Right, half the fucking league is in the race.
Yeah,
though.
but they're in right
What
now.
are they? 500?
No, they're 4 games. They're 4 games over. They're
They
46.
just got there.
Well, they were over 500 when they came into Fenway. They're already over 500. They were,
Right. Well, then
and they were
won
right.
2.
They were right ahead of the Mets.
They won 2.
They won 2 out of 3. So
Right.
now they're in that spot because somebody
Right,
else.
but they're
in that
not a great
lost.
team.
No, they're a good team.
They're easily a team that could have a getaway day on Sunday.
I'm saying the Red Sox are a good team.
I know
If they were a bad team, they'd have got swept. They would have got swept.
I mean, I agree that the Red Sox are a good team.
Yeah, that's why they didn't
I'm
get
just
swept.
saying, I don't.
I'm saying to me,
I don't see that
a
from
team-
them losing 2 out of 3.
It's not that they lost;
I
it's the
see
way
it
they
based on
lost.
how
They
they
got
play.
bum blasted.
2 in a
Records
row.
were falling.
Bang, bang.
Like
it took them 2
it was-
games to
remember
realize
that,
they were getting
it was a 23 bum blast with a backside Georgie.
Dude,
is
it
what
took
was.
him
It was
2
both.
games to realize what was
remember
happening.
Remember now, he had fake 23 bum blast.
I've never
There was
heard
no
somebody
fake 20
say
bum
they're a
blast.
good team because they won 1.
I'm saying they came back from that double bum blasting and won 1. off a good team.
At some point, you got to not get bum blasted.
Look, you want to discredit them, you go right ahead. I'm just saying that a team that with this bunch of young players doesn't lose it. No, you're not. No, you're not, because they're a young team and they're showing some veteran type savvy.
Dude, it's just baseball.
Oh, that's just baseball. Yeah, I didn't see the Nats do that last year. Every time the Nats get swept, it's just baseball.
Dude, even the worst team in the league, the absolute worst, wins 50 games.
I'll give you another
The
one.
worst team in history won 50 games.
By the way, that means they get swept more than once.
Of course it means they get swept more than once.
That's my fucking point.
But 50 times, they didn't. 50.
No, that's not true. They could have won some series.
Oh, please.
They could have won 2 out of 3.
Okay, exactly.
So you tell me they couldn't take 2 out of 3 from the second worst team or the third worst team?
So that proves my point
No,
even more.
I'm saying
that
they probably got
the worst, the absolute worst team can win series.
They probably got swept worse
The
more
worst
times.
team can win series. That proves my point more.
And they get swept the most.
It's baseball.
And they get swept the most.
162 games.
And they get swept the most.
162 games.
Swept. In fact, they changed their name to the sweeps.
Of course they get swept the most. They're the worst team in the league.
The bottom 5 all bottom 5 all get swept like that. I'm saying
But
the Red
my
Sox.
point is-
How dare I? The Red Sox showed a little bit of resolve. It's just baseball. I give you 5,000 examples where that happened.
It is just baseball.
No, it's not just baseball.
Yes, it is.
I'm saying they're a young team with a
They're a young team. They came in sturdy, ready after taking the pounding, and they won a game.
Well, first of all, to get up from that kind of a pounding and even be able to move, that's a victory in of itself, isn't it?
It does take some fortitude.
That takes some serious
intestinal fortitude.
When you get prison blasted like that, when you get bent over the car in the parking lot, and there's no lights, and the store's closed, and no one's coming to save you.
I'm calling you Stephen A. Assblast. That's your moniker.
Stephen A.
And now let's throw it to Stephen A. Assblast.
Stephen Assblast Smith.
Stephen Assblast. That's your moniker.
That's what the A.
Now we got Stephen Assblast
Steve,
Smith.
you didn't tell us the A stood for Assblast.
Steve, would you mind telling us what kind of game this is? Is this a prison Assblast?
Oh my God, this was a bend over session like you read about.
This was a hood of the car. This is what we like to call.
This was the frat
in the public restroom.
This was the frat one where he goes, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" Thank you, sir.
This is what we like to call the rest area rendezvous.
Oh my God. Talk about rear-ended.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I need another beer.
I'm sorry. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm ashamed of myself. That's awful. Who am I kidding? No, I'm not. I'm not ashamed of myself. Not at all.
What are you ashamed of?
I'm not ashamed. I'm shameless.
Dear God.
I'm shameless.
The Mets.
Anyway, so
Actually,
I don't think
should we move on to Caitlin? Should we stop this?
we should
start
stop
another
this. Come
segment?
back. Yeah, just stop this.
Did we finish with the Mets and the Red Sox?
We did. We started and went pretty much all the way through. We just disagreed at the end, Mr.
Well, I mean, come on.
And this young
You're
team,
trying to blow your team.
team is shit. No, I'm not. I'm trying to give him some credit.
Look at it.
I was blasting them all off season. I'm
Win
trying
one
to give
out-
him some
win-
credit.
You win 1 out of 3 to a 500 team. I'm not giving you credit.
Saying last year they got bum blasted 3 straight.
And you know your team better than I do.
They had got bum blasted 3 straight. And by the way, would have gone into another series where somebody finally woke them
But
up.
at this point last year, the Red Sox were in a very similar position.
No, they were below 500.
No, I don't think so.
They were. They were below 500 last year.
They were in the mix at this point.
They weren't healthy. JD was out for a while. Sale got hurt
At
early.
this point in the season, they were in the mix.
They were not. Well, they were in the mix, but they were below. They weren't above 500 though. They were below.
At one point, they were.
I'm saying they were probably 4 or 5 games below 500 at this point last year.
No way.
Yeah, I think they were.
Let's look this up.
So yeah, flip that up.
Let's look it up.
So anyway,
Red Sox
and by the way, they had a team full of. They had more veterans. They still had JD Martinez and some of these other guys.
record.
They just basically for sale. They got rid of guys that were. They've got resumes. They got rings.
See, I wonder what they got for sale. They must have got some good shit for sale.
Well, that was Theo orchestrating that.
Yep.
So they probably did. Well, I mean, where did Wong come from?
Well, he must have been in their farm system.
I don't even know. I didn't know who he was until like the second we got to see. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Wong? Like, I kept thinking, and again, I feel bad. I kept thinking of what's his name in Major League 2? So Chihiro Takahashi knocks himself cold for the 3rd time this week. Apparently in Japan, that's more important than catching the ball.
I don't know what that is.
Major League 2. You never saw Major League 2?
I definitely saw Major League too.
Oh my God, the fan in that is me and you. Hey, my old thing, I think I loathe you. Oh, you looking for your Terminator, Vaughn? Yeah, you go back in there,
That's
Vaughn.
Randy. What's his
Randy
name?
Quaid. He's awesome. Oh, he's awesome.
That's what's his face's brother.
Dennis Quaid. Yeah. After they lose like their 12th game in a row, he finally snaps. He goes, "You rotten bums! You overpaid wieners!" He goes, "My old thing, you make my butts." He says, my butt sting." He goes, "I detest you." He goes, "You're all garbage, all of you." And he goes, "Back up the truck, back up." That is literally Tom and me on a given day. That is literally one of us.
Not that bad.
When our team goes into a slump? Oh, yeah, we are.
You're that bad.
You're that bad, too.
No way.
Yeah, you are.
I don't get that dark.
You do. You just think about him, he's just like, yeah.
I turn it inward.
I've just come to the conclusion that if a bus crashed through the locker room door and suddenly killed these men, I probably wouldn't care about it.
I've never said that.
No, but that's how you get.
No.
That's like your tone. You're like,
no,
yeah,
I want
this
to
guy
die.
suddenly took a long walk.
Die. I don't want my team to die.
If this guy suddenly took a long walk off a short pier, I don't think I'd mind.
Never.
He gets like that.
Never.
You know, there's someone who should just sell the team and just go somewhere. Go away and die. Just don't come back. Anyway, sell it to 5 guys.
Last year, July is when they turned it on.
Who?
So, the Red Sox.
Oh.
So it was this month that they actually went above 500.
I'm saying they were below around this time.
So they were like, just under.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Then in July, they went 15-8.
Yep.
And then the rest of the season, they just
went.
Well, they were 2 games under 500 in August.
Yep.
11 games under in September.
Yeah, they fell apart. Just fell apart.
So you were right. They were a little worse off last year.
But I'm just saying, I get where you're saying about if they could make a splash, but the problem I'm having is this core is young and they
what are you bringing in that's worth it?
But the thing is, they might already be here. You just got to give them time.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're showing. They're doing these little things that I didn't think they'd do, and I'm like, I'm like, well, shit. If they're doing this almost 80 games now.
So
at some point,
I wonder like how much longer Kenley Jansen is signed for, because if this is his last year and you could get now if this is his last year, you probably can't get as big a haul.
Well, no, that would be for a team that a closer puts them in the World Series type deal, that type of shit.
But even then, you probably get one prospect.
Yeah, to me, I don't know how long Eckersley lasted.
Because I feel like Theo did this. Theo did this in Chicago with
when I think about
with the lefty closer.
Yeah, but when I think about great closers, they all last into their late 30s. All the great ones do. This guy's 5th all time in saves. I'd say that qualifies him. So he doesn't. I think he's 35 now. Doesn't look 35. He doesn't throw like a man. He doesn't throw. Let's put it this way.
35.
He's 35. He doesn't throw. I mean, he's not
definitely
built
on the downward slope.
Yeah, he's not built like a statue. But when he throws, he doesn't throw like a guy who's 35.
I mean,
he's strong. He looks like he's 29, 30. So,
but he's not.
But he's only a closer though. He doesn't have to pitch 7 innings.
They start to lose it though.
Mariano was still good for a long time, and so was Eckersley.
Okay,
those are 2 off the bat.
Called out 2 of the best to ever do it.
This guy's in the top 5 all time in saves.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that put him in that category just by numbers alone? He's there. He's top 5 all time in saves. He's one of those dudes.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying he's a closer, but you've got one. Okay. The last time they were really mad when they had a closer, they let the guy go and they didn't replace him until this guy showed up.
Yeah. I guess whenever I watch Kenley Jansen pitch, it is not. The domination isn't like it was for those guys.
No, you're right.
You know what I'm
he's
saying?
Not someone that
maybe that's why
he's not someone that kind of blows you away, but he's just consistent.
But it's like always like cardiac, like there's 2 men on, and he gets the final out, like.
But he walks into that situation.
But that also
he doesn't create it.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. He creates it.
I haven't seen him do that a lot. It's happened once in a while, but it's rare.
Whenever I see him, I feel like that's
usually
what
when
it
he
is.
comes in, and it doesn't matter what the situation is. Well, I mean, he's probably done that maybe 3 or 4 times in a year and a half, where he's done what he's talking about. Where I've seen him do what he's talking
3?
about. 3 or 4.
And I watched them with you?
No, we haven't watched them together.
Because you and I have watched them together.
Some of them, but no, he hasn't. But some games they lose. He doesn't even pitch. I'm just saying, like a game.
No, I'm saying he wins the game.
I'm saying when I've watched him Period. Over the last since he's been here, I can think of 3 or 4 times where that scenario played out, where he came on and there was nobody on. Like it was 9th inning, there's nobody on, and he puts 2 guys on somehow. He still gets out of it. Maybe he gives up a run, but he gets out of it. Most of the time, whatever situation he walks into, he closes. Most of the time. And
But
again,
I'm saying he typically closes the situations I'm talking about.
yeah, but I'm saying a lot of times he walks in and there's a guy on base, or there's 2 guys on base, and he's got to get that out and then 3 outs in the 9th, and he closes.
He does 4-out saves.
Yeah, he does. So, but the thing is, to his point, nothing about him really looks intimidating. Like he doesn't Mariano Rivera had a way about him. Like when he came in, the Yankees would play
that dominant.
Yeah, but the Yankees would always play Enter Sandman when he'd come in. That was actually pretty cool. They'd play Enter Sandman when he would ever come in, and he was like 99 or 98% he'd close.
Never beat him.
So
yeah, I mean his WHIP is 1. So he allows a runner every inning.
who?
Kenley Jansen.
Okay, so he walks a guy.
Well, no,
to me is not.
No, it's walk or a hit.
Okay,
so it's just one runner.
I don't consider one guy getting on because usually it's not. They don't get to third base.
No, one whip is very good.
Yeah. So.
But I think like some of those like Mariano, I felt like nobody ever got on.
I don't think he's as good as Mariano. What I'm saying is he's in the category. He's not better than him. Mariano's the best I've ever seen.
I don't feel like he's anywhere near him.
Well,
I know the stats say it is. It's just. Watching it, I don't.
He doesn't. I agree. He doesn't look intimidating he doesn't come in like Papelbon had a way about him. Papelbon is
for a few years.
He was like that motherfucker was a closer.
He was locked down.
He came in. It was over.
And so maybe what I'm seeing,
he doesn't.
Maybe
you're right.
He's 35.
Yeah, Kelly doesn't.
So,
at least, yeah.
but I think that's what I'm seeing is the age,
Yeah.
and all those guys when they were 35.
Well, Papelbon didn't make it.
Were like that.
Papelbon wasn't that. He was dominant in his 20s. He did
right as he got it to his 30s. He wasn't great anymore.
Faded. No, these guys were.
He loses the power.
No, but again, he's not also top 5 in saves.
Right.
This guy is.
No, but even like Trevor Hoffman, who I think is top 3.
Yeah.
When he was at the end, now he was older than 35, I believe. But yeah, he wasn't as dominant. And when he was young, his changeup was unhittable.
I'm just saying he is still one of the best closers in the game.
Yeah.
Because he is.
Yeah.
And I think
16 saves, he's tied for 10th.
Where to me, you can get the most probably for him.
He's tied for 10th in the league.
But you may already have it in your system, and you just gotta let it grow. You don't need to add something drastic.
Look, that thought came to me. I don't know how realistic it is that something like that could happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm saying I was thinking about this yesterday when they won. I'm like, what would you do? And what would you be willing to give up? And when I went up and down this lineup looking at what these guys were in April versus, because I went back to April and then what they are now. Like I looked at them at the end of April and I looked at them now. Like they've improved. Most of them have improved. So I'm like, and a lot of them are young. So it's like, wait a minute, they're doing what you want them to do. Why would you? You don't need to blow this up. You don't need to go get. You don't. And they're in contention right now. And there's still 80 games to go. If they stay healthy, it stands to reason they're going to be there at the end.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing maybe with the Mets. They could still be, I think they can be there at the end. They're right there now. So, do you make that move? I mean, somebody would have to blow you away with an offer. Somebody would have to give you one of those, one of those offers you can't refuse type deals. Like half their farm system, which I don't think anybody's going to do that for Kenley Jansen.
Where did this Casas kid go, or whatever his name is? Do you remember him?
Vaguely.
Big guy, played first base, hit bombs last year.
Is he still on the roster?
Now you guys have Dom Smith as a first baseman. Yeah. That's an area you could improve. I wonder if that guy's on the 60-day DL or something.
He might be. I don't know. I didn't check the injury thing.
He was pretty good for them last
year.
Anyway,
look, both teams are in contention. It's July 1st. We didn't both think we'd be here. So I can tell you that right now. So that's a good thing. We're going to take a break. Come back. Segment 3, Diana and Caitlin, round 1.
Good shit.
Tell you what, if that's the first of many things to come.
Good shit.
Sign me up now. We will talk about that on the other side.